And in our top business story, the Ministry of Finance has announced that the federal government revenue collected through e-dirham reached more than 2 billion dirhams in the first quarter of the year, up 4.2% from Q1 2015. According to local reports, the number of service transactions done through e-dirham during the first quarter rose 10.7% to yield nearly 10.1 million, as compared to 9.1 million transactions during the same period in 2015. Officials from the Ministry of Finance were quoted saying that the figures point to the growing popularity of the e-dirham system, and it is now becoming the preferred mode of payment of individuals, corporate houses and institutions. The total payment receipts through the platform increased by 24% for the first 3 months of the year, with nearly 5.1 million receipts in Q1 this year compared to around 4.1 million in Q1 in 2015. The number of sold e-dirham prepaid cards reached 2 million by the end of March this year. Officials added that the total e-collection of the ministries, authorities and federal government entities crossed 8.2 billion dirhams for 36.14 million government transactions last year through various offerings, including prepaid cards, e-wallet, point-of-sale transactions and e-dirham self-service kiosks. Etihad Aviation Group has successfully raised over $1.2 billion with the aim of improving revenues, reducing costs and uncovering exciting new business synergies. It was mentioned that the Etihad Airways, Etihad Airport Services, Air Berlin, Air Serbia, Air Seychelles and Alitalia grouping raised a further $500 million in a second platform financing transaction on Monday, following the success of last year's award-winning bond, which raised $700 million. Commenting on the latest transaction, the president and CEO of the Etihad Aviation Group, James Hogan, was quoted saying that the funds raised by the transaction will be again used largely for capital expenditure and investment in fleet, as well as for refinancing, depending on each individual airline's needs. During a series of roadshow meetings in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, the shared vision and strategies of the airline grouping were laid out to financial institutions. Dubai-based real estate developer Limitless has announced that an early payment of 2.07 billion dirhams to banks and trade creditors will take place on Saturday. The news comes as the company successfully concluded its restructuring agreement with lenders last week, and the immediate payment will cover the first instalment 7 months early and 80% of the second instalment 18 months ahead of time. Limitless has instructed its agent bank to release 1.9 billion dirhams to banks and 163 million dirhams to trade creditors. The restructuring agreement requires Limitless to pay its outstanding 4.45 billion dirhams in bank debt in 3 installments in December 2016, 17 and 18. However, the company will pay 2.07 billion dirhams, representing 43% of the company's outstanding bank debt and 28% of the money owed to trade creditors immediately. Despite a drop in contract awards along with project stalls over the last few months, experts at the MEED Construction Leadership Summit stated that the GCC construction sector is expected to recover by 2018. Around 100 senior representatives and executives from the regional construction industry gathered at the one-day summit, which discussed the current market conditions and challenges affecting the sector. According to Deloitte's 2016 Powers of Construction report, which was released during the forum, contract awards are likely to drop to $140 billion this year, which is a reduction of 17% on those from last year. The report comes weeks after MEED released its Q1 report, stating that GCC construction contracts awarded in Q1 fell to 830 million dirhams US dollars, which marks a decline of 92% year-on-year and a 70% drop on the previous quarter. The report added that the GCC construction market is facing pressure from cuts in government spending, late payments, increased overseas competition, bureaucracy and staffing challenges. However, with over $2 trillion worth of projects still in the pipeline, panelists remained optimistic about the industry, particularly with predictions that oil prices can rise to $60 a barrel. Based on the current conditions, panelists stated that PPP financing models need to be explored as funding gaps arise because of government budget deficits.
So I think the biggest challenges are, firstly, cash flow. That's to do with the fall in oil prices and the squeeze on liquidity. The second challenge is finding new opportunities. We're seeing a lot of restructuring programs in the region. It means decisions about what is going to go forward have been delayed. That creates uncertainty. Uncertainty is a challenge for the industry. But also, we're talking about new opportunities. So Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait is a really big story for this conference. So those are the main issues that have dominated today.
What we are seeing is actually a lot of owner clients taking advantage of the lower commodity prices. Notwithstanding some of the commodity prices have increased, but certainly this has created a very competitive market. And you have seen that actually Dubai has awarded a substantial number of projects. This is simply because there is a lot of momentum in Dubai, and we are always planning for the future. And that is a very key and important, unique proposition from the Dubai perspective.
There is an undeniable squeeze on liquidity, and payments are slower to the contractors. There is an ability for banks like ours to support our long-term clients with credit facilities, etc., as we move forward. So we're actually really helping them manage through the crisis in terms of their cash flows.